really use smart technology to break down fitness barriers. And what do I mean by that? I mean the people who are unable to get to the gym for whatever reason, because of distance, because of money, because of time, because of some other personal issues. Bring fitness to them, bring community to them, bring some sort of social connection to them, bring health to them via digital technology. I think that's immensely exciting. I know that the fitness industry is already driving hard into this space, but again, it's great. It's great for the industry because it builds the marketplace, but it's great for society because those marginalised people that often don't have the opportunity to go out to the gym, they can have fitness and health for them as well. And I think that's a blessing.
Welcome to episode 238 of the industry's leading business podcast for fitness owners and managers. This month's interviews are brought to you by our podcast partner, MyZone, the wearable technology that enhances paid programming and drives customer engagement. To find out more, go to myzone.org. Hi everyone, and thank you for joining me. My special guest for today is Brook Dixon, the Managing Director of Delos Delta, a business which drives performance improvement, smart city and digital transformation for clients around the world. Brook is a Churchill Fellow, previous President of the Australian Smart Communities Association and previous Director of Smart City and Smart Regulation for the ACT Government. As you're about to hear, this week is not your typical fitness business podcast show. This week, we're going to take a look at some of the ways that technology affects our communities, our cities, and our organisations. Specifically, we chat about what smart technology is and how it's driving positive change in our cities and regions. We discuss how smart tech is being applied in the fitness industry, what the future looks like for smart tech and innovation, and Brook leaves us with 3 ways that fitness operators can ensure they stay up to date with the latest information on technology. Now, one last but very important thing you need to know is that Brook will be speaking at the Fitness Industry Technology Summit that is happening in Sydney, Australia on July the 25th and 26th. I'll tell you a little bit more about that after today's interview. We're about to hear from Brook, but first, thank you to our podcast partner, MyZone. MyZone is a wearable technology platform that leverages personal goal setting, gamification, and social platforms to motivate your members. Learn more at myzone.org. And now it's time for this week's show with Brook Dixon. Brook, a super warm welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Fantastic, Chantal. Great.
Let's kick things off with talking about smart technology. Do you want to explain to us what exactly is smart technology and how is smart tech and how is innovation driving positive change within our cities and within our regions?
Yeah, sure, Chantal. So smart technology really is a catch-all for a whole range of things that are now being rolled out across our cities and our regions and our towns. Obviously, it includes all the networks and the data connectivity, be it your fibre, be it your mobile phone towers, and be it other low-power, wide-area networks. All these things allow us to collect huge amounts of data and information and do amazing things in our cities. And this is really changing how our cities are built, how they're planned, how we create them, and how we interact within them. So think of issues like real-time data at our bus stops. Think of issues like big data being collected about how people move around our city, which then informs the way that parks are placed or bins are placed. Think about how public services in our city are now being designed not because it suits the administrators or the public policy experts, but how it suits the citizens. And think about how we're using our cities as a living lab, a place where technology can be utilised in new and interesting ways to test and trial innovative services, applications, infrastructure, and see if those new products and services can actually make a difference in our city. You would have heard about so many of these things, Chantal, be it smart street lighting, smart parking, Wi-Fi, smart irrigation, smart wastewater collection, all these things that are making our cities better. And there's a host of other things as well, but it's really exciting. It's a brand new space. and it's happening all around us and delivering all sorts of amazing benefits and all sorts of possibilities.
There are so many questions that are coming to my mind at the moment, Brooke, but the first one that I guess came to the top of my mind when you were giving us all those examples is when I think about fitness operators that operate in parks or outdoor areas or beaches, so would I imagine that they are somehow affected by these smart technology advances that you're talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course. I mean, in Australia, of course, there are many places still, it doesn't matter if you're in a city or a regional area, where there are dead zones in terms of connectivity, be it for your mobile phones or be it for Wi-Fi or even really bad fibre reception. So when we're out in these public places, and I don't know about you, but even when I'm training and involved in various fitness activities, I've still got my phone fairly close by, do like to check it, don't like being out of range. But also in these spaces, there's a whole bunch of new host of other digital amenity that can be added. For instance, we're now seeing smart bins that are being taken to these places where sensors in the bins give the city real-time information about how full or empty those bins are, and therefore what's the best time to come and pick them up to stop them from overflowing or to stop too many trips to those bins.
Yeah, it makes sense. So everything is kind of connected together. I think we will unveil more of this picture as we go along, Brooke, because I would love to understand maybe from your perspective what some of the, the most impressive things are that you've seen in this field of smart tech and innovation.
Yeah, look, one of the ones that I really love is the idea that we're seeing old assets in our cities turn into new assets, physical assets turn into a fusion of physical and digital assets. One of the greatest examples of these is our streetlights. We often call them the backbone of smart cities because streetlights are ubiquitous. They roll right across your city and therefore can be used as a platform for a whole bunch of networks and sensors and information and so forth. So in San Jose, for instance, the city there partnered up with Philips and they upgraded about 1,000 streetlights across the city to smart streetlights, which allow real-time information and control about the streetlights, saving power, saving money and so forth. But they upgraded these streetlights for the city at no cost. Cost no money for the city because while they're upgrading these streetlights, they included mobile phone reception areas on them as well, so therefore they made some money from the mobile phone access points, but also they saved money for the city because they didn't have to pay for the assets. So I love that example of smart cities, Chantel, because it's about providing better services to the city. It's about sustainability. It's about the city saving money. What's not to like about that?
It's such a great example. I'm interested to understand, Brooke, you mentioned about the data that's being tapped into in the examples that you've given us so far, like the garbage bin example and the light example. It's all got to do with, I guess, tangible items within our cities. When it comes to that data collection, is any of this smart tech tapping into data from consumers or from the community, or is it more just about the habits of what's happening in the area?
No, you're absolutely right, Chantel. Some of the most exciting developments in this space are where we're seeing crowdsourced data being used to better plan and understand our cities. And guess what? One of the best examples of it actually comes from the fitness industry, the fitness sector itself. For example, think of Strava. Billions of trips and fitness interactions every year recorded on that application are now being made available to planners in cities around the world so that they can understand where people are using their city for walking, for bike riding, etc. That's great because it means there's a greater interaction between the citizens, the fitness industry and our city planners so that we can understand, okay, how do we make space for people to stay fit? Okay, how do we ensure that there's enough room on the street for bikes? How do we make sure that we're investing enough in these spaces so our communities can stay fit and healthy and safe while they're doing so? I think it's extraordinary, and it's an amount of data that simply hasn't been available before. It's a great advocacy platform for the fitness industry, but more than that, it actually is leading to better outcomes in the planning of our cities, which I think is just fantastic.
Yeah, that's definitely an exciting development from a health and wellness and activity perspective. So, Brooke, are there any other trends that you have seen being applied to the fitness industry, and if so, how are they actually changing things?
Yeah, look, I mean, so in the smart city world, what we're seeing is we're seeing more of what people are calling digital twins. That is, rather than the city itself as a physical location, we're creating 3D digital models of the city for people to hack, to play around with, to perturb, to do some sensitivity analysis on, to see what would happen if you change some of the policy parameters in the city. Think of traffic, think of planning restrictions, think of movement by pedestrians around the city, think of waste management, etc. So we have these 3D models of the city that are proving remarkably useful, but we're also using these 3D models in virtual reality so that people can interact through community engagement processes with their city, trying to understand how their city is changing and can change and should change. So, of course, in the fitness industry, in fact, probably cities are learning more from the fitness industry in this respect rather than the other way around. The fitness industry is always leading the way, and you can see many, many applications and companies who are coming to the table now with VR and AR platforms that augment the traditional fitness experience to bring more people to the table, to bring more people into the gyms, to bring more people to fitness classes with the use of VR goggles that allow people to experience new and exciting and crazy worlds, perhaps, while they're on the treadmill or while they're on the rowing machine. I think it's pretty amazing. Not something I'm interested in myself because I get a bit sort of motion sickness on VR goggles on. I have to say, when I took my kids to Universal Studios 2 years ago in the States, I didn't have the best day, even though my kids did. But nonetheless, people love this VR stuff. It's big in the cities in terms of city planning, and it's certainly a brave and bold new field in the fitness industry. And I'm sure many of your clients and listeners would be engaged with this already or thinking about what do we do about it.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. And it has definitely been a major topic of discussion, I'd say, over the last 6 to 12 months. And that is everything from the virtual reality, like you're talking about, virtual fitness classes, even to your full body scanners, to your fingerprint. I mean, just all of these different ways that we're starting to utilize technology and utilize and collect data, I guess, which leads me to my next question, Brooke, because a lot of this is about tapping into that consumer behavior. And you gave the example earlier about Strava. I mean, what type of challenges have you faced or are you aware of or should we be aware of when it comes to data privacy in relation to all of this smart tech that's now, evolving in our industry?
Yeah, great question, Chantel. And I have to say, and I'm sure many of your listeners would agree, that the smart city space, the internet world, has become a bit of a wild west in many respects with data privacy, integrity, and so forth. I mean, we're all just finding our way. We haven't dealt with this world before. We don't know how far we can push, how far we should push. But what I can say is that, and I give the same advice to my clients in terms of public policy experts and mayors and so forth, really we've got to continue to have deep, meaningful discussion with our clients, with our customers, about how data is being collected and about how data is being used and about how data will benefit them, about how data is being secured. So, for instance, I know of many instances where cities or towns have started collecting Wi-Fi data so they can see people's movements around areas so they can better plan their city. But they forgot to tell their citizens that was happening. And therefore, when their citizens find out, they get quite upset about it, understandably, not because there was anything untoward happened, but because they weren't told. So I think the general principle, Chantel, is that you just have to be upfront and transparent with your clients and customers. We're collecting this data. This data will be used in this way. And guess what? It's valuable to you because these are sort of services and these are sort of fitness and product and service improvements that we can offer you because of this data. I think it's a really important principle to follow and one that served us well in a range of projects in the smart city space. And I'm sure it would equally serve your listeners well in the fitness industry.
Yeah, great advice, Brooke. Thank you for that. So if we were to, say, give you a crystal ball to have a look into the future, give us a bit of an idea of what you see the future looking like when it comes to smart tech and innovation in the world of fitness.
Yeah, look, that's a That's a fabulous question, and perhaps I'm not the best person to answer it because I don't tend to see myself as a futurist, but nonetheless, I think a couple of areas where I can see great possibility, and where I hope this intersection of smart technology and fitness leads us. Now, Chantel, ultimately, at the end of the day, technology is about people. We've got to use it to make people's lives better. And what better way to make our people's lives better than to make them fitter, healthier, happier and stronger, which is what the fitness industry is all about. And I hope that this intersection of smart technology and the fitness industry is another way for the fitness industry to have a greater say and more collaboration about the future of our cities so that they can become more people-centric, more fitness-oriented, and provide that data about how people are becoming fit or becoming not fit with crowdsourced data to the city planners so that we can really address some of these critical issues of obesity, of disadvantage, of increasing levels of chronic disease and so forth. That I see as a really exciting place where we can bring more people to the fitness industry, good for the industry, but also get better outcomes for society, good for society. I like that one. The other one, Chantel, that I like, and I hope that smart tech can help us reach into these frontiers, is really use smart technology to break down fitness barriers. And what do I mean by that? I mean the people who are unable to get to the gym for whatever reason, because of distance, because of money, because of time, because of some other personal issues. Bring fitness to them, bring community to them, bring some sort of social connection to them, bring health to them via digital technology. I think that's immensely exciting. I know that the fitness industry is already driving hard into this space, but again, it's great. It's great for the industry because it builds the marketplace, but it's great for society because those marginalised people that often don't have the opportunity to go out to the gym, they can have fitness and health for them as well. And I think that's a blessing.
You're definitely right, Brooke. We've seen some fantastic advances in that area in the fitness industry of different apps and different systems being able to reach people in remote areas, or even having existing gym members being able to take their group fitness home instructor home with them on an app, and do a class from home virtually. So there's definitely been some great advancements in that area, and it's exciting to think about what the future might look like in the fitness industry. I'm interested to know, Brooke, because obviously you operate in the Australian market. Is there anything kind of big happening internationally that you're aware of, that you've heard of, that's exciting? It doesn't have to be inside fitness. It can be anywhere at all. But are there any stories you can share with us for how smart tech is actually affecting communities and cities internationally?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I've got a good one for you, and it's close to my heart. For those of you who want to see my sort of more bolshy side of things, that I've done a TEDx talk about digital democracy. And that's where I see smart technology starting to play a role in modernising, evolving and continuing to improve our democratic models and institutions. And where it's really happening well is, in fact, it's happening very well in Europe and certainly parts of the United States. I have to say that Australia is a little bit more conservative than I would have liked. But I'm going to give you two good examples. In Seoul, we've got a product called M-Voting, where people are able to download an application onto their mobile phone, onto their tablet and so forth. It gives them real-time opportunity to vote on issues about the city. What's happening, give us feedback here. In fact, citizens can put forward their own issues for other citizens to vote on, and then the council actually considers those issues in allocating budgets and making decisions. That, to me, is true democracy. And similarly, something similar in Barcelona is an application or a platform called Decidim. It's exactly the same principle, where they take digital technology and use it as a platform and a mechanism to enrich community dialogue and get people voting on city issues so that they have a greater say in the future of their city. I think that's fantastic. It gives more information to decision makers. It makes us all more active and involved citizens, which is really great. Certainly, that's how democracy is strengthened, if we're active and engaged citizens. And to me, that's a really exciting frontier for smart cities and smart democracies. And I trust that your listeners will really enjoy having a look at what's happening around the world and how these new tools are changing the very government and governance of our societies.
Two fantastic examples, Brooke. Thank you so much. And yeah, I can just imagine the impact that must have in those communities for the residents to be able to have a say and to be able to contribute. And I can definitely see how that type of smart tech could apply across different industries and different areas, not just when it comes to governance and getting the say from the community, but certainly I would imagine that different organisations could take advantage of a similar type profile to what you just shared with us. So thank you so much for that. So we finish off each of our shows, Brooke, with Fitbispiration. And today I am hoping that you'll be able to share with us 3 ways that fitness operators can ensure that they stay up to date with the latest information. It's always changing, it's always evolving, but how can they stay up to date with the latest information on smart tech?
Yeah, good question, Chantal, and I'd be really pleased if people would do that, because I think there's a great amount of exciting parallels between what's happening in our cities and abroad and what could be applied in the fitness industry. So to start off with, you could follow my company, Delos Delta, on Facebook, Twitter and LinkedIn. We roll out a whole bunch of material there to keep people updated in this space. Of course, follow the hashtag Smart City on LinkedIn and your favourite social media channels. A bunch of great material is being pushed out around the world on this hashtag. Will keep people up to date. And finally, there's a great organisation called the Smart Cities Council. It's based out of, in fact, it was founded in the United States, of course. Now we have a chapter in Australia and New Zealand. The Smart Cities Council is a great organisation to keep in touch with. Follow their social media channels, perhaps become a member, get along to some of their events. That's the 3 ways I reckon you can stay in touch with what's happening in smart cities and learn what benefits can be applied to the fitness industry.
So there is one last but very important topic that we need to talk about today, and that is, of course, the Fitness Industry Technology Summit, because you will be speaking at the event, which is coming up in July 2019 in Sydney, Australia. So do you want to give us a little bit of a sneak peek and tell us about the topic that you're going to be speaking on during the event?
Yes, thanks, Chantal. Look, again, I'm really excited. It's a fantastic opportunity. I'm totally blessed to be invited along, and I'm looking forward to it. This is a little bit out of left field for me. Usually I'm out at the tech and innovation conferences, so this is going to be something that brings me back to my roots as a football player and a runner, someone who was very into fitness when I was younger, but now more career oriented. So this is going to be one of the best, or I think the biggest and the best fitness industry conference in Australia in 2019. All the big players are going to be there. All the people to network with will be there. I'll be talking about, again, what's happening in smart cities around the world. What are the trends? What are the things that are going to change our cities? What are the things that can be applied to the fitness industry? And how can we take these technologies, take these lessons, take these pathways and really turbocharge and fire up what's happening in the industry, in the fitness sector, so that we can bring more people to the sector, grow the marketplace, and do cool and interesting new things together.
Well, Brooke, I've got to tell you, the reason that you don't normally speak in fitness conferences is exactly the reason that JT from Active Management would have gotten you involved in FITS, because the Fitness Industry Technology Summit is all about that. It is about technology. It's about looking outside our industry and learning from experts like Brooke, who has been joining us on the show today, and hearing about what is going on in a much larger scale. And as you say, Brooke, how that actually drills down to affect us in the fitness industry as well. So I am so excited to hear you speak on this topic, and I know that today we've had a little taste of what's to come. So thank you so much for joining us today, Brooke, and I cannot wait to see you and hear you speak at the Fitness Industry Technology Summit.
Thanks, Chantal. Look, I look better in person. I've got a face for stage. I have to say, I've got a face for stage. So come along and check me out at the Fitness Industry Summit. Can't wait to be there, but really appreciate being on this podcast with you, Chantal. Great time. Really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brooke.
Tribe, if you haven't explored a functional training space for your gym, then now is the time. With Queenex Functional Training by Precor, there is a unit to fit every space. Plus, education is included to ensure that training is delivered with confidence. You need to jump online and check this out right now. Go to precor.com/fitness business podcast.
As you've just heard, Brooke will be speaking at the Fitness Industry Technology Summit that is happening in Sydney, Australia on July 25th and 26th. Tickets are limited, so if you'd like to join us for the event, I've included a link in today's show notes. Alternatively, you can head directly to fitnessindustrytechsummit.com.au and register there. Very importantly, make sure that you use the code ACTIVE, ACTIVE, to save $100 on your registration.
Precore Quickfire 5.
This week's Precore Quickfire 5 guest is the Head of Strategy for Storiation, Andres Lopez Varela. Andres, welcome along to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
We're going to kick things off with our Precore Quickfire 5. So start off by telling everyone, why do you do what you do?
I love to solve problems. I am a massive nerd, and so marketing strategy seemed like a great way to kind of combine those passions.
And what's one ritual that helps you become better at what you do?
I've actually adopted a very robust kind of habit of listening to a lot of podcasts about subjects other than marketing, but where there's a lot of interviewing happening, because I really want to understand how people extract information from, different kinds of professionals and put themselves in the mindset of their audience rather than always just talking about marketing.
That is very interesting. Well, you've definitely come to the right place for an interview-style podcast. And tell us, What app or system do you use to stay in control of your workload?
I was trying to think about this as racking my brain, and the fact that I was racking my brain probably tells me that I need one, and I don't have one.
You know what? Why not your podcast player? Which podcast player do you use?
Spotify, actually. That's a good one. Spotify is my favorite, yes.
Yeah, I always find, even down to a podcast player is actually a really nice, succinct way to kind of keep on top of things, keeping everything in the one place. So, and what about what about it when it comes to books, or you can nominate a podcast or a blog that you would recommend to our audience?
I am a big fan of Here's the Thing with Alec Baldwin. It's an interview podcast where he speaks in depth for 40 minutes to someone that he finds interesting or compelling or is sort of in the news, mostly in the US. But he always asks questions from a very naive kind of state. He knows some stuff about, a little bit about everything, but he's always asking as if he's in the audience's shoes. And I think that's really compelling, interesting kind of podcast format, because I think you can learn a lot about understanding your audience better if you understand how people ask those questions.
Yeah, I really look forward to taking a listen to that one. I'll grab the link for the show notes, and give us just a very quick overview about the topic that you're going to be focusing on during our main interview.
Yes, well, we're going to be talking about the importance of shifting your marketing focus away from customers over to audiences. And we're going to talk about why this is important in creating a sustainable sort of marketing approach, and also how you can leverage data and technology to do that in your business, regardless of who your audience is.
I am so intrigued by this topic, Andreas. So I'm really excited and looking forward to your main interview. But thank you for joining us today for the Precore Quickfire 5.
Thanks, Chantel.
Thank you for joining me for this week's episode. A reminder that, of course, all the resources and the links for today's show can be found at fitnessbusinesspodcast.com. Thank you to our foundation partner, Active Management. Don't forget, as a listener of the show, you have a special opportunity to work with JT. You can get one free session when you buy one coaching session. No matter where you are in the world, technology allows him to work with you. Simply go to activemgmt.com.au/FBP family and work with JT to get more people moving and moving more often. Once again, that is one free session when you buy one coaching session, and it's exclusive to you. Simply go to activemgmt.com.au/FBP family. Thank you so much for joining me once again today. Wishing you a fantastic week up ahead. And remember, what you leave behind is not what's engraved in stone monuments, but what is woven into the lives of others.